Hey guys, ended up thinking I got a great deal. Didn't get such a great deal. So I went to one of the Gander Mountain going out of business sales, and they had some pretty good discounts on stuff. I ended up getting this Stealth Operator magazine holder for in the neighborhood of like 14 bucks, and I really kind of fell for it because, you know, it's got this little Made with Pride in Gainesville, Florida thing going on here. So it kind of enamored me a little bit, and I said, well, geez, it's made in the USA. It must be good. So as I kept walking, I ended up finding magazines. So I got these Pro Mag Smith & Wesson M&Ps for, I think they were like $11. So I bought a couple of them. I know they're not the best, but for $10, I will throw a couple in the safe. So since we got the two of these together, why not make a video? It absolutely killed me to keep this packaging on, because as much as I wanted to carry this thing, it just, you know, I knew if I take the packaging off I would end up losing it. So, I'll show you that real quick. You know, they do carry other products as well, not just this, so we'll get that out of your way. Alright, so what's the problem? Now, so I get this home, and I think, holy cow, this isn't really that bad, you know, for the money I spent on it, the 14 bucks. You know, it's got adjustable tension, you know, the nice little belt loops here. So it looks like, you know, this will be a pretty decent holster from the looks of it. And it's universal, and that's one of the things that should be your first clue. Whenever something's universal, nothing in the firearms world is universal, guys. Nothing at all. So anything that says universal, always be wary of. Now, I don't expect this to fit every firearm that I own. I don't. You know, I just don't have like those miracle expectations just because it says universal on it. But it does list on here a bunch of firearms, and of course it does list the M&P 9 as one of those firearms. Now, so putting this in here, of course you can see, you know, that obviously it is meant to go in, oops, like this, and follow that same contour. So now, I've adjusted the tension on this to the point where you can actually see that kind of center thing is kind of like crushed. It's actually bowing out because I've kind of crushed it so much from applying so much torque trying to tighten this thing. And even with that, you know, as I mentioned, it still has pretty much zero retention unless you really kind of force it down in, but even then it doesn't hold that great. Now on this other side, it has fantastic retention. It actually snaps right in, and you can see the little pinch point there that holds it in place. It actually locks this thing in very nicely. So, what's the issue? And the interesting thing, it locks in the one way but not the other. And it's the way it shouldn't be, so it's kind of like, huh. You know, so, but that's functional right there. It does lock in very well. It's not going to look very good because obviously you're not going to be able to put another mag in that same way. But the molding on this is just terrible, which is what I'm getting at, is that you have one that's completely different molded than the other. And when you look at it, even from the side, you can just see how much of a difference there is between the two of them. You can see that high, you know, how much there's a... You can see as we level this, there's a really high spot right here. Another kind of high spot right there. So these things aren't even really the same form. So, okay, you know, if it was universal, I could really live with it if it just didn't fit everything perfectly. But the fact that the two of these aren't uniform really gets me, you know, because, like, you know, it's really just, you can see it's just very crudely formed in an attempt to make these things fit. Now, can you fix this? Yes, you can 100% heat this up and mold this a little bit better. But as it is, guys, this is like a $30 holster when it's not like reduced. I wouldn't pay 30 bucks for this. There's so many better options on the market. And this, you know, is very easy for you to kind of catch and think, oh my God, number one, it's universal, and number two, it's made in the USA, and say, oh geez, this is worth the money. But, you know, in reality though, you can get a nice custom, you know, Kydex magazine holster for the same price, you know, and you'll get a much better quality than this. Not to say this thing isn't serviceable. You know, like I said, I can obviously mold this a little bit better to which firearm I want it to fit. But in reality, I only have a couple firearms that'll fit this, and the MP9 would be the only one that I would really get that kind of carry use out of. So, you know, is this thing a bust? No, but you know, being this thing is pretty much at maximum. I mean, you can just see how much it's torqued, you know, because the center piece is just so kind of bowed up and squished so much that I really can't get this thing any tighter without, you know, snapping whatever's in the center here. So yeah, a little disappointing, and just one of those lessons to be learned that made in USA does not always mean good.